Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today I have an abundance of ginger. I was going to make some ginger beer, and there's two different ways I make it. There's the probiotic way and there's the alcoholic way. Today I'm going to show you how to start a ginger bug to get so we can make the probiotic. But that is going to take some time, and I'll show you that process this week as it progresses. And next weekend we will do the probiotic type. But today I will show you how you can make alcoholic. And it's pretty simple. But for step one, we have to make a ginger bug for the probiotic. And what that is essentially a natural yeast culture. And you get that from the ginger itself. There's natural yeast on all these things, all fruits and vegetables to be exact. So what we do, it's very simple. We're going to move this stuff for now. And all you need to do is get a jar, put about a cup of water in it, your ginger, and grate it. Set this aside. I'm going to use about this much. And I'm just going to throw that in there. Then we will put 2 tablespoons of sugar in to start it. And what you're doing is the yeast will feed on the sugar and multiply. So as the week goes, each day we're going to add a little bit more, about a tablespoon of ginger and a tablespoon of sugar each day for the next 5 days. Give this a little stir it up. And then we just cover it, and each day, as I said, give it a tablespoon of new ginger and sugar. And as this goes on, you're going to see it gets fizzy throughout the week. And next week, when I do the probiotic, this is what makes it probiotic, is this process of starting your own yeast from itself. It's very similar to sourdough in the bread world. So for now, we'll put this aside, and we'll visit him tomorrow when we feed him. So for today, what we're going to do is, since I don't have my ginger bug, I'm going to make a different style of ginger beer, which is alcoholic. And basically, all we're going to do is we will grate this up, and then I'll bring it to a boil, and I'll show you the steps from there. But for now, just let me get this. I'm going to use the food processor rather than do this by hand because it's much quicker. And once I'm done, we'll come back and pick up. So we're back, that was what we ended up with after I went through the food processor. It's just matter of basically shredding it up any way you want. Finer the better. I like a lot of ginger. I use more than most people in their ginger beer, but that's the way I like it. You can adjust it. Typically I use about 3 pieces of ginger this size to a gallon. Some people use 2. It doesn't have to be exact. So the next step is you got to bring this to a boil in a gallon of water, and either 16 cups of water or 1 gallon, depending on how you do that. All right, so we have 1 gallon of water on the boil. Oh, gotta put our ginger in. So other than giving the ginger a wash, a rinse, and a wipe, I don't worry about peeling it or anything like that to make this. It's not required. So we're going to bring this to a boil, and I got a secret ingredient which I like to add, and that's these. That's cloves. And you don't need too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll go an extra 5. That's it. This is what it looks like. So now we wait, and there's only 2 more things to add, and that is a cup of sugar. And for my alcoholic ginger beer, I do use a cup. because that is what the yeast are going to feed on to make alcohol. So we will add a cup of sugar, and I add some, what is it, a cup, quarter cup lemon juice. We'll get to that after though. For now, we must wait. And since I mentioned earlier to do the probiotic ginger beer, we need to have a ginger bug, which isn't ready yet. So with the alcoholic version, you don't use a ginger bug. You can get away with just using bread yeast, and that will start your fermentation. Just do a boil. You want to boil it for about 10-15 minutes, then let it cool naturally. There we go. Now we have a boil. Turn it down just a little bit. So now we got a full boil going here. We're going to let that go for about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. But I'm going to add the cup of sugar. Make sure that gets dissolved well. So to recap, for the alcoholic ginger beer that we made, we grated about a pound or so of ginger, fresh ginger root. We boiled a gallon of water, and we added 1 cup of sugar so far, and 5 cloves in this batch. So now, we just let that simmer. Bring the heat down, let it simmer for 10 to 15 minutes. So this is essentially the final step for now. What we're going to do is, again, I'm going to simmer this for about 15 minutes, and then I have to let it cool to room temperature, which is going to take some time. So once we're ready to proceed with the next steps, we'll be back. Welcome back. It's been 6-7 hours. This is finally cooled, and most of it's sunk to the bottom here. So at this point, I want to get the juice out, but I have one ingredient left. I put a quarter cup or so of lemon juice in. You know, pretty generous. That just kind of adds the flavor and is a natural preservative. So now we need to get all the juice and none of the pulp out and put it in my jar. Alright, what's the best way to do this? Potato. So we want the juice but not the pulp. So once you have it some in your strainer, you just squeeze it. I've used cheesecloth or terry cloth and squeezed it in that before as well if I didn't have a strainer, but I do have one today. Try to get as much juice as you can. And repeat. See if I can move this along. That looks like the right color for ginger beer. This is a good project to try with the kids too. Get in there. So you want to get this filled up to just about where the neck is here of these. This is going to be alcoholic, so it's going to ferment. You've got to leave some space for the foam, because once the yeast starts working with the sugar, it will produce alcohol and carbon dioxide. So you'll see it lovely. We're going to use the same process to make it fizzy in the bottle once we get to that stage. So basically the carbonation comes from natural fermenting process. Oh, here we go. Now I'm not even going to squeeze this. I'm going to set it aside for a moment. Wow, lots of juice. Almost where we want to be. Usually when I make ginger beer in a 1 gallon like this, I typically would use the smallmouth on top where I can put an airlock in, but I don't have one at the moment, so I'm using this and it will work fine as well. So the last secret ingredient, the last ingredient that we need is some regular bread yeast. Throw a couple teaspoons in, and that's it. Again, I'm not using the airlock, I'm just putting the cloth on, covering it, and I'm going to set aside. Right over here next to some kombucha that I've made. I've been making that for quite some time. I'll put it right over here next to my kombucha. Yeah, I got 3 kombuchas on the go and the ginger beer we just made. And we'll come back to this tomorrow, and I will show you how both the ginger bug that we started and are building to make our probiotic ginger beer, as well as this alcoholic version, what it's looking like tomorrow, and we'll follow the process through over the next week or so. Thanks for watching, and we'll be chatting tomorrow. Welcome back. So today we have to feed our ginger bug. This is what we're going to use when we do our probiotic ginger beer next a few days. So this is what it looks like currently. Not too impressive, but it's getting there. We'll set that aside. And again, all we're going to do is grate a little piece, about a tablespoon of ginger, and get some sugar, and we will get ready. So yeah, just take your ginger once again, grate it, leave the skin on. That's where the natural yeasts are that we're trying to get established. Smells good. So this is what we get. And then we just throw it in. Just throw it in there. And again, we're going to use some sugar and about a tablespoon, so I just got a teaspoon here. We'll do a couple of these. You know, this isn't terribly exact. As we progress through this, you'll know it's starting to get a yeast colony, because when you stir it, it'll be fizzy. So we'll see that as we progress, but that's it for today. And that is just a very simple thing to do. And then I'll put this back on and set them aside until tomorrow. And since you're here, we'll take a look at the alcoholic ginger beer we started yesterday. And as you might be able to see, You're starting to get some fizz and bubbles. Fizz and bubbles along the top. That's what you want to see. That means that the bread yeast you threw in is now working and converting that sugar to alcohol and carbon dioxide, which makes the bubbles. Welcome back. We are back here looking at the ginger beer that we put on 7 days ago. This is what it looks like. You can see this was the alcoholic version. So we added some yeast, and you can see there's still a little bit of foam up top there, and a bed of yeast that sank to the bottom. This is exactly what you would expect to see. And for the next step, we're going to, get some kombucha going in the background here. For the next step, we have to get this into our bottles. Okay, so we got to get this. And what I try to do with this is I'm going to have a pot that I'm going to dump as much, just carefully dump off as much of this as you can get and leave the heavy sediment behind. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this, but that's all I'm doing, just dumping it in here. You get a little bit of the sediment, it's not a big deal. So this is what's left. Like I say, it's just yeast. It's all good. You can actually use this for anything you need some yeast for. Now, since this is the alcoholic version we're doing, the cup of sugar that we had put in is now pretty much gone because the yeast converted it to alcohol and carbon dioxide. So to make it fizzy in the bottle, I add a little bit of sugar. In these bottles, you're going to need a bottle that can take pressure. So any of these swing top type bottles, or even a pop bottle if you had to, anything that can take the pressure. These are fairly cheap and available on Amazon if you need them. So I'm just going to add regular sugar. And I'm going to put a teaspoon and a half in this size bottle. These are like 470 to 500 ml. So that's all we're going to do for each bottle. I'm expecting 7 or 8 bottles off of this batch. So that's all I'm doing, is getting these bottles ready, and then we're going to fill them. And what's going to happen with the sugar is the yeast again are going to activate and make alcohol and carbon dioxide, but this time the carbon dioxide can't escape because the bottle's sealed and therefore will carbonate and make your drink fizzy. put too much sugar, or there's too much pressure, you do risk your bottles blowing up. So don't put more sugar than's needed for this stage, and you should be safe. And I know I said 7 or 8 balls. I'm just going to start with 6 here, so I don't have to clean them up if I don't use them. And all we're going to do is fill these. And again, I have my liquid over here. Yeah, sorry, I'm just using a funnel here. Now all I'm going to do is ladle. Take a regular ladle and take my ginger beer and put it in. Smells good. And want it right to where it just starts up the neck where it's narrow. And a little bit more. Right about there. And all you do is you put the top on, fasten it down, and make sure it's dissolved. And that's it. We will give this bottle, I'd say about 5 days, and then it'll be fizzy and drinkable. I'm just going to set this one over here and do the next one. Make sure that sugar's dissolved. We will try to speed this one up a bit. if I can just dump this without making too much mess. We'll see. A little bit too much. I'm just going to pour a drop out on this one. Oops. There, that's about right. I don't know if we have enough for one more or not, but what we will do is we will prime this with the sugar and see how it goes. Okay, so not quite full. But that's okay, we'll keep it. So I'll dry each of these bottles off. Put them away for about 5 days and then chill and enjoy. And this is how you make the alcoholic version of ginger beer. And I have another batch on at the moment here that I will show later on, but it will be the probiotic type of ginger beer. So there's a few differences. I'll explain those in the other video. But anyways, glad you joined me, and thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing if you're interested. And I will talk to you later. Let me know in the comments if you had any success with this recipe and what your thoughts are. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to look at making a different type of ginger beer. This is the probiotic one, and this is the one that you culture your own yeast. I showed how to make the ginger bug in my prior video. So basically This is what it looks like. And all we did is put a cup of water in here, and each day for 5 to 7 days we added a tablespoon of shredded ginger and a tablespoon of sugar. And now this is formed, you can see some bubbles in there. That is a natural yeast, and this is what they call a ginger bug. So the main difference between the alcoholic ginger beer we made in the other video is this is what we're going to use instead of yeast, and we're not going to let it ferment out before we bottle it. We're going to bottle this right away. So what I've done is I have another batch of ginger beer. It's all cooled and ready to go, so I have to get it out of here and add the ginger bug, and then we will add bottle it up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our ginger bug here. We're going to stir it up a bit. See how it's fizzy? That lets you know you got good yeast happening. And I want all the yeast stirred up because I'm going to take and pour this off best I can. I'm going to get a cup or so. And I'm going, oh, not yet. So that over here. We had a mistake. We need to get our liquid separate from the solids first. So I'm just going to use this. To do that, and I like to squeeze out all the juice I can get. And I just have a pot I'm going to dump this in as we go. So I'm just going to continue this until I get all my liquid and solid separate. Dump this in my pot. As you can see, I use about a pound of shredded ginger. This is the exact same recipe, the other video where I was doing the alcoholic. Because up until this point, the process is the same. You just make your ginger tea, basically. Try to get as much juice out as you can. So we showed you the ginger bug earlier. We took a cup of the liquid, and this is what we're going to use for our yeast in this probiotic version. And this is just the natural yeast we started with the ginger itself. So I'm putting that in here, and I'm going to dump that into my pot so it can all mix. So you probably can't see it, but I got this pot. This now has all my ginger tea in it without the pulp. As for your ginger bug, you can continue to use this. You can top it up with some water again, and just keep adding ginger and sugar each day, and they'll stay alive, and you can keep making, you know, more ginger beer and stuff with it. You can actually use this in other things. Make fizzy juices. Cranberry juice is one that I've tried. Just add this to your cranberry juice and put it in the bottles and wait for it to get fizzy. So the main difference with the probiotic ginger beer is we're not going to let it ferment for a week to go dry. So the sugar's already in there. And we just added our ginger bug, which is a natural yeast, so it's going to start working. And what we're going to do is bottle it, so it's going to have to work in the bottles, which is going to start building up pressure and carbonating it. And with this method, it's a sweeter product because the sugars aren't fermented out. So the other thing is, though, with this method where it's building up pressure, you do have to burp these bottles every day or so, and that's just opening and closing them real quick just to let off any excess pressure. Typically after 3-4 days you can set them in the fridge, and that'll help with calming down the ferment. But these are meant to be drank fairly new and young. It's not the kind of thing that you bottle up and put in the closet for a couple months. So with this one, we're just going to mix up our ginger tea over here, and we're going to just start ladling this in. And that is pretty much it. We're going to fill our bottles. These bottles were washed and sanitized just prior to this. I do like to sanitize them. Again, any bottle that can hold pressure, like beer and that type of thing, can be used for this. Don't use anything that's not rated for pressure because they will explode. That is one thing about the alcoholic version that we did. When you prime your bottles, after it's fermented dry, you know exactly how much sugar's in each bottle. So you can make sure there's not enough there that'll cause them to blow up. That's it. And we'll just continue doing each of them. I figure I'll get probably 8 or so. Oops. I knew that was going to happen. This is my preferred of the two methods, though you have to babysit them a little bit more. So as you can tell, this is not a terribly hard project to do. The product is very nice though. I do really like the fresh ginger beer. It is much better than what you can buy. And a lot of people say there's a lot of health benefits to ginger itself. I don't know for sure, but I know I certainly like it. Sorry I don't have the best camera set up for all these angles, but hopefully it's enough that you can get the gist of what I'm doing, and in case you want to try it yourself. I'm happy to answer any questions if you happen to have any. Just leave a comment. I can't help but make a mess. And I think we'll get one more. And we'll try to just dump this one. And there you go. We got ourselves 8 nice bottles here. And again, the main thing to remember with these is we have sugar and yeast in here, and it's sealed. So pressure is going to build, and to avoid any kind of accident, once a day, just going to come and do that. And once about 3 to 5 days in, you can tell it'll be fizzy enough for you to put them in the fridge and chill them and start enjoying them. But again, these should be drank, relatively quick, and you want to make sure you keep burping them. That's about all there is, and that's the main thing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. Again, this is the probiotic. My other video was the alcoholic version of ginger beer. Thanks for watching.